3 stories, 6 parts, and one terrifying truth. Sometimes the danger isn't in the dark. It's already watching you. A woman you don't remember builds a life around you from the shadows. A simple free couch leads to a trap in the middle of nowhere. And a quiet roommate who might have been standing over you while you slept. These aren't nightmares. They're real. And once you hear them, you won't feel alone in the dark again.
In a small town where everyone pretends not to watch but somehow sees everything, my life felt ordinary, quiet, predictable, safe. But that illusion shattered years ago, and I didn't even realize it at the time. Back in 2012, I had a completely forgettable interaction. I walked into a convenience store, grabbed a drink, and on my way out, I held the door open for a woman. We made brief eye contact. I said hi. She replied, bye. That was it. No names, no conversation, no memory worth keeping. At least, that's what I thought. 2 years later, in 2014, I finally bought a car. It wasn't fancy, just reliable, but I worked relentlessly for it. Every dollar I saved had a purpose. I was planning to move back to my hometown, a place nearly 12 hours away. I didn't trust banks much, so I kept my savings in cash, locked inside a metal box hidden deep in my closet. Everything was going according to plan. Until one night, everything changed. A few weeks ago, around 3 in the morning, I woke up to a violent scraping sound. It was loud, metallic, like steel being dragged across concrete. My heart started pounding. I ran to the window. That's when I saw it. A large rollback tow truck sat in my driveway. Its amber lights flashed in the darkness like warning signals from something unnatural. The driver was operating the winch, dragging my car up the ramp. But the car wasn't rolling. It was being forced. The tires screeched against the pavement, an awful, tortured sound. The car was still in park. I rushed outside, adrenaline surging through my veins. "Stop!" I shouted. The driver paused and looked down at me, irritated. "Relax," he said. "Your wife called, said the car broke down again." I froze. "I'm not married," I said slowly, "and my car is perfectly fine. Put it back." He frowned, confused, then pulled out a notepad. He read off the address. My address. Then the car details. My exact car. A cold, creeping sensation crawled up my spine. "This is what she told me," he insisted. "She sounded panicked, said her engine died, told me to come here." Something wasn't right. Something was very wrong. After a tense argument, he finally lowered the car back down, but the damage was already done. The transmission was destroyed from being dragged like that. The next morning, the car wouldn't move at all. It was completely ruined. While waiting for the police that night, the driver muttered something that stuck with me. "Crazy lady, said she bought the same car as yours, just forgot to mention the year." And then he said the name, Erica. The name meant nothing to me, at least, not yet. The next day, I went into town trying to figure things out. I asked around, hardware store, diner, auto shop. That's when things took a turn I still can't fully explain. People looked at me strangely, confused, amused. "You and Erica? You've been together for years," the guy at the hardware store laughed. I felt the ground shift beneath me. "What are you talking about? She's always in here, talks about you all the time, calls you your boyfriend, sometimes your husband." My stomach dropped. At the diner, the waitress nodded immediately. "Oh yeah," she said. "She tells us about your movie nights, said you both bought matching cars." Matching cars. My breathing became shallow. Everywhere I went, the same story. Everyone believed I was in a relationship with a woman I didn't even know. A woman who had somehow built an entire life around me, without me ever noticing. That night, something inside me shifted. Fear turned into something darker. because one question wouldn't leave my mind. How did she know so much about me?
I didn't sleep that night. The town I thought I knew suddenly felt like a stage where everyone else had been following a script except me. The next morning, I became obsessed with finding answers. I tracked down an acquaintance of mine, the guy who had recently sold a car on Craigslist. Something about what the tow truck driver said kept echoing in my head. Same car, same model. When I asked him about the buyer, his expression changed immediately. "Oh yeah," he said slowly. "I remember her. Her name was Erica." My chest tightened. "She bought an old version of your car. Thing was falling apart. Honestly, I was surprised she even wanted it." "Did she say why?" I asked. He hesitated, then said something that made my blood run cold. "She told me she wanted you both to have matching cars." Silence fell between us. "She seemed to know everything about you," he added quietly. I left his place feeling like I was being watched. Every step home felt heavier. Every shadow felt alive. I kept replaying everything in my mind. 2012, a 2-second interaction. 2014, I bought my car. And now, somehow, she knew details about my life that I had never shared with anyone. I don't use social media. I don't post pictures. I live quietly. So how? Over the next few days, I kept digging. But I wish I hadn't, because every answer only made things worse. People didn't just recognize her name. They knew intimate details she had told them. Details about me. She said you leave for work around the same time every morning. You always buy the same groceries. You like keeping the porch light off, but leave the kitchen light on at night. That last one hit me like a punch to the chest, because it was true. Every single night, I left the small light above my kitchen sink on before going to bed. But no one should have known that. No one could have known that. Unless they were watching. That evening, my fear finally overcame my denial. I walked to the back of my house. Beyond my kitchen window was a thick stretch of woods, dense, silent, and almost unnaturally dark at night. I grabbed a flashlight. My hands were shaking. Step by step, I moved into the trees. The air felt colder there, heavier, like something didn't want me to be there. About 20 feet in, my light hit something, and I froze. The grass was flattened, not naturally, deliberately. Right in the center of that patch was a rusted folding chair, positioned perfectly, facing directly toward my kitchen window. My breath caught in my throat. I stepped closer. The ground around the chair was littered with cigarette butts, old coffee cups, wrappers, signs of long-term presence. Someone had been sitting there, night after night, watching, waiting, observing my life like it was some kind of twisted show. At that moment, reality hit me harder than anything else ever had. This wasn't just lies. This wasn't just obsession. This was surveillance. For years. I stumbled backward, nearly tripping over roots as panic surged through my body. My mind raced. All those details she knew. The kitchen light, my schedule, my habits. It all made sense now because she hadn't imagined a relationship with me. She had studied me. The next morning, I went straight to the police. I gave them everything. The tow incident, her name, what people said, what I found in the woods. They took it seriously. For the first time since this started, I felt a small sense of hope. They tracked down an address tied to her and apartments across town. But when officers arrived, the door was unlocked. The place was empty. Gone. Just like that.
The landlord told them she had packed in a hurry, left early that morning. No notice, no forwarding address, nothing. It's like she had vanished into thin air. And deep down, I knew why. She realized the mistake, the tow truck. She knew it would expose everything. She knew I would finally see the truth. So she ran. But she didn't just disappear. She took something with her. My peace, my sense of safety, and everything I had worked for. Fixing my car cost more than it was worth. The transmission was completely destroyed. I had no choice. I had to open the lockbox. Every dollar I had saved for years, gone. Just like that. Now I'm stuck here, in this town, surrounded by people who believed in a life I never lived, haunted by someone I barely remember. And the worst part? I don't even know what she looks like. If she walked past me today, I wouldn't recognize her. And sometimes, when the house is silent, I still find myself staring at that kitchen window, wondering if she ever really left.
This story doesn't end here. In fact, this is just your first step into the unknown. Do you have the courage to hear what comes next? Because every second that follows is enough to steal your sleep at night. Are you truly ready to face this terrifying experience? If you have the courage, then stay with us. Don't forget to let us know in the comment box where you're joining us from in this mysterious world. How fast is your heartbeat during this story? How intense is the fear? Tell us. And if you're a new member of our dark storytelling family, then don't miss the upcoming terrifying updates. Click the subscribe or follow button now and stay connected with us. A new chapter of mystery begins right now. I was 24 years old, broke, and desperate for something better. My apartment was a dump. The centerpiece in my living room was a disgusting, worn-out love seat left behind by the previous tenant. The fabric was stained, one side sagged badly, and it carried a faint, stale smell of cigarettes that no amount of cleaning could remove. I hated that thing. Every day after work, I'd sit on it and imagine replacing it with something real, a couch I could actually stretch out on. But reality always hit the same way. I couldn't afford it. So I turned to the only option I had: Craigslist. Every day, I checked the free section. Most of it was garbage, broken appliances, filthy mattresses, and junk no one else wanted. Until one day, I found it. A post titled, "Free Couch Must Pick Up." The photo showed a large, dark gray sectional, clean, modern, way too good to be free. The description was short. Good condition, no pets, no smoking, need gone by this weekend. Located in Woodcrest. Woodcrest was about a 30-minute drive east, quiet, rural, and kind of isolated. But I didn't care. This felt like winning the lottery. I emailed immediately, telling them I could pick it up that evening. Within 10 minutes, I got a reply. "Tonight works. Address is on Eucalyptus Avenue. Name's David. Let me know when you're on your way." Everything felt too easy, but I ignored that thought. I borrowed my friend Mark's old Ford Ranger and headed out just before sunset. At first, the drive was normal, but the farther I went, the more the world changed. Streetlights disappeared, houses became sparse, the road narrowed into long stretches of darkness surrounded by empty land and scattered trees. By the time I turned onto Eucalyptus Avenue, it was almost completely dark. The road barely looked like a real street, just cracked pavements stretching into shadows. Houses were few and far between, hidden behind overgrown bushes and fences. My GPS said I had arrived, but it didn't feel like I had arrived anywhere safe. The house sat at the end of a long gravel driveway. It looked wrong. Peeling paint, a yard filled with junk,
Old car parts, broken furniture, weeds growing wild. A single dim yellow light glowed from inside. And there it was, the couch, sitting on the front porch, exactly like the picture. I parked the truck and stepped out slowly. The night air felt still, too still. I texted the number. "Hey, I'm here, Ford Ranger." A few seconds later, the front door creaked open, but it wasn't one man who stepped out. It was two. Both big, both silent, both watching me. One wore a dirty white t-shirt, the other wore a black hoodie. Neither of them smiled. "Here for the couch?" the one in the t-shirt asked, his voice rough. "Yeah," I said, forcing a friendly tone. "I'm Alex." "I'm Dave," he replied. "This is Rick." Rick said nothing. He just stared, unblinking. We moved toward the couch together. Something already felt off. The way they stood, the way Rick stayed quiet, the way they watched every movement I made. But I pushed that feeling down. I wanted the couch. We lifted it, and instantly, I noticed something strange. It was too light, way too light. This wasn't a heavy sectional. It felt almost hollow. As we carried it toward the truck, Dave spoke again. "Hey, the cushions are inside. We brought them in so they wouldn't get dirty." I stopped. That didn't make sense. Okay, I said. "Where are they?" "Just inside," he said, nodding toward the open doorway. "We'll grab them quick." They set the couch down. Now both of them stood between me and the truck, blocking the only easy way out. That's when it hit me. Hard, clear, terrifying. This wasn't about the couch. The couch was bait. "Actually, it's fine," I said, trying to stay calm. "I can grab them myself." Dave's face changed instantly. The friendly mask disappeared. "No," he said coldly. "We need your help." He stepped closer. At the same time, Rick moved behind me. My pulse exploded. The open doorway behind them was pitch black, and from inside, a faint, rotten smell drifted out. Something like spoiled meat and chemicals. Every instinct screamed the same thing. Run. The moment Dave stepped closer, I knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't awkward. This was a trap, and I had just walked straight into it. Before I could react, Dave lunged forward and grabbed my arm with crushing force. At the same time, Rick shoved me hard from behind. They weren't asking anymore. They were forcing me inside. My feet stumbled on the gravel as I was pushed toward that dark doorway. The smell coming from inside the house grew stronger, rotting, chemical, suffocating. My brain snapped into survival mode. I didn't think, I reacted. I drove my elbow backward as hard as I could. It connected. Rick let out a sharp grunt, his grip loosening just enough. That was my only chance. I twisted violently, ripping my arm free from Dave's grip. He tried to grab me again, but I ducked, slipped past him, and ran. Not toward the truck. They were too close. I ran into the yard. The ground was uneven, littered with junk I couldn't fully see in the dark. I tripped, nearly fell, but kept going. Behind me, "Get him!" Dave roared. Heavy footsteps thundered after me. They were fast, too fast. Branches whipped against my face as I crashed through overgrown bushes. Thorns tore into my skin, but I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. Every second mattered. Every step was survival. Then, road. Open asphalt. Pitch black. Empty. I sprinted straight down the middle, gasping for air, my lungs burning. And then, I saw it. Headlights. Far ahead. A car. I ran toward it, waving my arms like a madman. The car slowed, probably thinking I was insane. I didn't care. I slammed my hands against the window. "Please, you have to help me. They're trying to hurt me." The driver, an older man, looked terrified, but he unlocked the doors. I threw myself into the back seat. "Go! Go!" He didn't hesitate.
The car sped off, leaving that house swallowed by darkness. We didn't speak much. My chest was heaving. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I had just barely escaped something. I didn't fully understand. He dropped me at the first gas station we found. Bright lights, people, safety. I called the police immediately. When officers arrived, I told them everything, every detail. The ad, the house, the men, the smell, the way they tried to force me inside. They took it seriously. 2 patrol cars drove me back to the house. Even with police beside me, my body felt frozen in fear as we approached. But when we got there, it was empty. Completely empty. The couch was still sitting outside, exactly where we left it. The house was dark, silent, dead. No Dave, no Rick, no evidence. The door was closed. Inside, nothing. No sign anyone had been there. No trace of what almost happened. The phone number? A burner. The email? Fake. Untraceable. It's like they never existed. For weeks after that night, I couldn't relax. Every shadow felt wrong. Every sound felt like a warning. I barely slept because one thought kept repeating in my head. They know who I am. And then, about a month later, it got worse. I was driving home from work when I noticed a car behind me, a beat-up dark green sedan. Something about it felt familiar, uncomfortably familiar. It followed me. 1 turn, 2 turns, 3. My chest tightened. I made a random turn into a neighborhood. The car turned too. That's when fear turned into certainty. This wasn't coincidence. This was deliberate. I sped up, took sharp turns, switched directions. Finally, I lost it. But the feeling didn't go away. Because deep down, I knew.
At this point in the story, a chilling wave of fear may already be running down your spine. But believe this, the truly terrifying part is still yet to come. Can you gather the courage to stay with us until the very end, or will the intensity of fear force you to look away halfway through? Where are you joining us from on this journey into mystery? And right now, how would you rate your level of fear? Let us know in the comment box. And if you want to stay hooked on such spine-chilling mysteries and get updates on every new video before anyone else, then subscribe to our channel or follow our Facebook page right now and become a part of our family. This journey into fear has only just begun. Stay with us.
I was 20 years old when I decided I needed my own place. Not just wanted, needed. I found a 2-bedroom apartment that felt like a miracle. It was affordable, close to my office, and bigger than anything I thought I could get at that price. There was only one condition. The landlord required 2 names on the lease. At the time, none of my friends were looking to move, so I did what a lot of people in my situation would do. I went online and searched for a roommate. A few days later, I got a response. His name was JD. We met at a coffee shop. At first glance, he looked completely normal. Average build, glasses, plain clothes, quiet. Very quiet. When I asked questions, his answers were short, direct, almost mechanical. What do you do for work? Data analyst. Do you work from home? Mostly. No small talk, no personality, just answers. It should have felt awkward, but instead it felt convenient. He didn't seem like the type to throw parties or bring strangers over. That's exactly what I wanted. So we signed the lease. The first month was quiet. Too quiet. JD stayed in his room almost all the time. Morning, door closed. Evening, door closed. Late night, door still closed. Sometimes when I walked past, I'd hear faint keyboard clicking. Fast, constant, like he never stopped working. When we crossed paths, I tried to be friendly. How's your day going? He'd nod. That's it. No words, just a nod. Then he'd walk away. At first, I thought I got lucky. A roommate who paid rent on time, stayed quiet, and minded his own business. That's rare. But then, small things started happening, things I couldn't explain. Food began disappearing. Not entire meals, just parts. A slice of cheese from a sealed pack, a handful of grapes, a soda missing from a six-pack I knew I hadn't finished. I asked JD about it. He looked at me blankly. I don't drink soda. I don't eat that. And then he closed his door. I tried to convince myself I was forgetting things, but then it escalated. One morning, I opened a brand new cereal box. The inner bag was already torn open, partially empty. That's when I started feeling uneasy. I knocked on JD's door again. "Have you had people over?" I asked. "My stuff keeps going missing." He opened the door slightly, looked at me. "No one comes here," then closed it. After that, I started noticing my room. Things weren't where I left them. A book moved slightly, my phone charger uncoiled, and one morning, my toothbrush was wet. I didn't question it anymore. I knew someone had been inside my room. I stopped leaving anything personal in the bathroom. I kept everything locked away in my room. But even that didn't feel safe, because my door didn't have a lock. Then came the nights. I'd be sitting in the living room, watching TV, and I'd feel it. That feeling, like someone was staring at me. I'd turn slowly, and there he was, standing at the end of the hallway, in the dark, watching. He wouldn't speak, wouldn't move, just stand there. The moment I made eye contact, he'd turn, walk back into his room, close the door. Every time. My hands would go cold, my chest tight. Something about it wasn't normal. It wasn't just awkward, it was wrong. Then, one night, everything changed. Around 3 a.m., I woke up and walked toward the bathroom. The apartment was silent, except for one thing. The TV. It was on, flickering, loud static filling the room. JD was sitting on the couch, perfectly still, staring at the screen. But there was nothing on it, just static. "JD," I whispered. He didn't respond. I took a step closer, my heart pounding. "JD?" Suddenly, he stood up, too fast, too sudden. He turned his head toward me, the glow of the screen reflected off his glasses, hiding his eyes. "Sorry," he said flatly. "I couldn't sleep." Then he walked past me, close, too close, and went back to his room. I didn't sleep that night, because deep down, I knew something was seriously wrong. After that night, I stopped feeling safe in my own apartment. Sleep became impossible. Every sound, every faint creak, every soft movement felt like a warning. So the next day, I went out and bought a heavy-duty rubber door wedge. Every night, I shoved it tight under my bedroom door. It was the only thing standing between me and whatever JD was becoming. But even that didn't stop the fear. Late at night, I started hearing sounds from his room. Slow, heavy dragging noises, like furniture being pulled across the floor. Then came the whispering, not normal talking, not phone calls, low, repetitive, almost like he was murmuring the same sentence over and over again. I could never make out the words, and honestly, I didn't want to. I started changing my routine, coming home at different times, avoiding him completely, trying to become unpredictable. But it didn't matter, because it felt like He always knew. Then came the night that ended everything. It was a Friday. I went out with coworkers, stayed out late, had a few drinks, just trying to feel normal again. When I got back around midnight, the apartment was completely dark. No TV, no sounds, nothing. As I walked down the hallway toward my room, I froze. A thin strip of light was glowing from under my bedroom door. My heart dropped. I knew I had turned that light off before leaving. I stepped closer, held my breath, and listened. There it was, a faint, metallic, scraping sound. Slow, careful, deliberate. I reached into my pocket and gripped my keys between my fingers, just in case. Then, without knocking, I shoved the door open. And what I saw still doesn't feel real. JD was sitting cross-legged on my bed. My laptop was open in front of him. He looked up at me and smiled. A small, unnatural smile. "You're back early," he said. I couldn't speak. I couldn't move. My eyes dropped to the bed beside him, and that's when I saw them. A flathead screwdriver and a heavy steel hammer. Tools, not for cleaning, not for fixing, for breaking. "What are you doing?" I finally managed to say. "He's just cleaning it," he replied calmly, gesturing at my laptop. There were no cleaning supplies, no cloth, no spray, just tools meant to open things or destroy them. Every instinct screamed at me. "Get out," I said. He didn't argue, didn't react. He simply closed my laptop, picked up the tools, and walked past me, slowly, silently. I slammed the door shut behind him and shoved the wedge into place. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. That night, I didn't sleep at all. At sunrise, I packed everything important, clothes, documents, laptop, and I left. I didn't tell him, I didn't warn him, I just disappeared. I stayed with a friend for a week. During that time, I found a new apartment, paid extra to move out immediately, even paid a penalty to break the lease. I didn't care about the money, I just wanted out. The landlord told me something strange when I called. JD moved out too, didn't leave any forwarding address. That was the last I heard of him, or so I thought. A few weeks later, while unpacking in my new apartment, I found something. A small black USB drive taped underneath my desk lamp. It wasn't mine. My chest tightened as I stared at it. Something told me I wasn't going to like what was on it. I plugged it into an old device, not my main laptop, just in case. A folder appeared, labeled with my name. Inside, hundreds of audio files. My hands went cold. I clicked one. At first, just silence. Then, breathing. My breathing. I skipped to another file. Same thing. Me, sleeping. Then, something else. A sound. A door slowly opening. Soft footsteps moving closer, closer, and then stopping right next to the microphone. Two sets of breathing. Mine and someone else's. I didn't listen to another second. I ripped the USB out, walked straight outside, and threw it into the dumpster. I never saw JD again, but sometimes, late at night, when everything is silent, I still wake up suddenly, because for a split second, it feels like someone is standing beside my bed, listening, watching, breathing. And the worst part, I'll never know how many nights he was already there.
Today's story comes to an end here, but the lingering trace of this mystery may stay etched in the corners of your mind for a long time. As the night grows deeper, the shadows become more mysterious. Today's story was the essence of such an experience. To all of you who stayed with us patiently and gathered the courage to be part of this terrifying journey, we extend our heartfelt gratitude. We want our spine-chilling family to become more than just a channel or page, to grow into a true community of mystery lovers. If you want to experience such thrilling and haunting stories every time, then stay with us on this journey. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and boost our motivation even more. And for those of you who are completely new to our channel or Facebook page today, we warmly invite you to become a permanent member of our dark family. Click the subscribe or follow button now and stay connected with us so you never miss any new mystery updates. Remember, the joy of exploring the unknown is the greatest sign of courage. I have been with you on this mysterious journey. This is Azad. Very soon, I will return with another terrifying and thrilling story. Until then, take care of yourself, stay safe, and don't ignore the mysteries hidden in the shadows. For now, goodbye, Allah Hafiz.